Welcome back to East Texas. Now joined with us live in our East Texas newsroom is a special guest and a recent college grad. Please welcome Lucas Vega, UT Tyler grad. Also just won the best undergraduate oral presentation, which is why we're here chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Your first time in the newsroom, your first time on the East Texas Now desk. It is a good time to be Lucas this afternoon. Now, Lucas,
feels like it.
yeah, right? Lucas, it looks like your future is very bright. We were just speaking in the break. You're a double major. You're gonna go on to get your master's. You have a summer job lined up. You have it all figured out. But tell us more about this competition that you did. It was over in Louisiana. Is that right?
Right. It was at LSU Shreveport. And it was an undergraduate and graduate research conference, not just for colleges in Louisiana. Obviously, I go to UT Tyler, but people do research at their respective colleges, and then they bring over and present it either in poster or oral form. So I gave an oral presentation, so I was behind a PowerPoint clicking, talking to people, and they felt like my presentation had enough merit to win the undergraduate category and best oral presentation.
Which is a phenomenal honor.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what your presentation was in. So you're a double major, for those that were watching, in math and computer science?
Correct.
Okay,
yeah.
so what was your presentation in?
So it was over seeing if we could predict if someone would misuse opioids via machine learning using electronic health records. So in short, when a person goes in to a medical practice, well, really anyone could be an opioid misuser. There's a lot of undocumented misusers that get their opioids from the street, and so it'd be really nice if we could identify these people early so we could intervene and get them some treatment before, God forbid, they come in and suffer from an overdose. The problem is there's no universal screening method for that because all that exists right now are surveys that you have to fill out on paper, and that's too long for doctors to administer to every single patient. So if an automated method existed that utilized machine learning, and if it was efficient and accurate, then we could screen all patients really quickly and hopefully identify people at risk. And so that's what my research was over. Specifically, I used what's called a neural network. That's like the algorithm that they used to predict. It's something that think of it kind of like how our brain works. Our brain, we receive input through our sight, our smell, our taste, and we learn from that. So, if I'm going around and I grab a snake and it bites me, I'm like, oh, ouch, my sensors told me that was bad. And then my brain rearranges itself to learn not to do that. Similarly, a neural network can be trained to look at patient data and learn to identify which people are likely to be opioid misusers. That's what we did.
Wow. So it would be more of a preventative measure than something that happens after the fact.
Absolutely. It's all about early care and intervening as early as possible.
Fantastic. Now, is this something that you are passionate about? Is this a work that you're going to continue forward, or is this something that fell into your lap? How did you choose this subject matter?
It's really interesting. It really did fall into my lap. So I'm affiliated with the data analytics lab at UT Tyler. They have done health analytics before. As far as I can tell, this is the first time they've done predictive studies with opioids. We work closely with the pharmacy department at our college, and they're very invested in the opioid epidemic. And so this honestly kind of just fell into my lap. I wouldn't mind continuing this in the future at all. I have no plans to currently, since I'm going to go get my master's at Texas A&M. But if the opportunity presented itself, I'd love to work on this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the break we were speaking and you said, the dream is to be a very math-centered profession, right?
Yeah.
So is it something that, in general, are you keeping yourself a little bit open? I know this hasn't always been the dream. When you entered college, you were undecided.
Right.
But then it kind of got slower, slowly. The journalism field, unfortunately, was left on the chopping block, is what we've learned. You tried it and you decided it had some merit to it.
Did, absolutely.
But it didn't stick. It's all math and computer science.
Yeah.
So what do you hope to do with that? Do you know yet? Is the world still just your oyster?
To be honest, I really don't. Why am I attracted to it? Math and computer science, to me, are tools for understanding. And that's really what I like about analyzing the data the most. We analyze data to answer questions. what should we do? Is this thing safe? Is this condition or behavior present in people? Any sort of question you could possibly ask, you're going to go to data and make statistical arguments from it. It's all about understanding, and I think that part of it is what made it so attractive to me, to just get my hands on it and see what people are talking about and see how they come to the decisions that they do. That I really want to be a part of that process.
That makes sense. When you think math, when you think computer science, you don't think it goes hand in hand with public speaking. However, obviously, you won undergraduate for oral presentation.
A lot of rehearsing.
Yeah. How did you practice for giving the presentation? What was the process like leading up to it?
So the thing about a research presentation is you're going to have to cram months, even sometimes years worth of work into 15 minutes. And so it's not just good enough for you to be to know your stuff. You have to be really efficient at communicating it. There has to be no fat in your talk at all. So it really just comes down to putting in the work, rehearsing over and over again. Anyone who's done a research presentation will tell you that. There are very few people out there that can just wing it and be fine. I mean, if you give them an hour, sure, many people can wing it, but you only have 15 minutes. You have to be super efficient, and anyone who's done that kind of research will understand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, your dream eventually is to become a statistician. Is that how you say it?
Statistician. Yeah.
Statistician. There we go.
It was good.
What does that mean?
Statistician is kind of what I described earlier. They are someone who, companies or organizations hire to look at data and extract a lot of meaning from it. The line between statistician and data scientist can be a little blurred. Sometimes data scientists, which is another thing, will do a lot more predictive modeling. So trying to, predict things. For instance, hey, given we have all these sensors out in the world, can you predict the weather? I like predicting. I'm a lot more interested, however, in understanding. So, a company may come to me and say, hey, what are the effects of, I don't know, maybe this, what kind of environmental factors lead a person to make the decisions that they do? Those kind of questions are really interesting to me. So it's more about understanding. So that's really what a statistician does. An organization gives them data, they answer questions for that organization by making statistical arguments.
So then oral presentation would be prevalent in your future job then?
Yeah, no, you have to be a really effective communicator. You can be right, but if you can't convince people you're right, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it was Einstein that said, if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Right, yeah, I think so. It's true, and some concepts, it's like, well, you get into the topic of, well, what does it mean to explain something? Like, to have a truly rigorous understanding of statistics, I mean, I can know it super well, but unless we have hours, I could explain it simply, but it's just going to be really, it will take a while.
Right.
So it's what kind of explanation is sufficient. You have to be really good at giving someone the gist really quickly. And
it sounds like you were in Louisiana getting your oral presentation undergraduate award. Now, from what I understand, there were over 40 universities at this place, so it wasn't a small competition. There was a lot. Do you know how many people you went up against?
I don't know.
Ooh.
No, I was just really trying to make sure
just
my
focusing on yourself.
Was right. Yeah, I don't want to get overwhelmed by all that other stuff.
No, you got it. You got to put blinders on, and like you said, you got to trim the fat in your conversation. You can't have too much fluff. You're trying to get all of that information out towards them, and I think fluff in the chopping block is all of the competition around you. Obviously, you sailed past them all. Lucas, we want to congratulate you on your award. Wish you the best here moving forward. Hope you have a fantastic time in your summer job, and we'll see you at Texas A&M. Don't be a stranger. Come and talk to us again whenever you're working on your next statistician project.
Yeah, well,
did I say it right?
You did. You nailed it. Killed it. Yeah. Well, I had a fun time here, so I may come back. Thank you very much.
As you should, Lucas. We will see you again soon. And we'll see you again right here after the break. Stay tuned, y'all. You're watching East Texas Now.